What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super deck profile. Over the past weekend, our teammates swept through the competition and actually took first place with a deck that we have seen nobody playing and a leader that seems to have been forgotten, but it is everybody's favorite little bitch, Kefla. This leader is actually not that bad, and it's kind of like Harudegarn in a way. When it attacks a leader card, you can choose a Universe 6 in your hand and place it in your drop area, and if you do so, draw 2 cards. So you get to get that extra, like, deck thinning, and you get discarding for Overwhelm as well. And then when you're at 4 or less life, you get to untap 2 of your energy, which, again, in my opinion, is so much better than getting to draw 2. Especially because this deck does not need any more extra draw power. I will tell you firsthand, it's ridiculous. I really wish I had been playing Cell when I had to play against this. When you get down to 4 life, you flip it over, and she awakens into Explosive Power Kefla. Now, this side is the side that really causes problems. Yeah, the other side lets you draw and, you know, dig deeper into the deck, but that once per turn just hurts so bad. It says, choose one Universe 6 in your hand, place it in the drop area. Choose this card or one of your Universe 6 battle cards, gains 5,000 power and double strike for the duration of the turn. Now, double strike, you're like, well, that's not really that big of a deal. However, it is that big of a deal with the bullshit that this deck spits out, especially with the boss monsters. First up in the deck, he runs everyone's new favorite 1-drop, Intensifying Power Trunks. He's a 1-cost 5,000. It says, when this card attacks, you can choose a card in your life and add it to your hand. If you do so, this card gains 10,000 power and crit for the duration of the turn. It's really nice that he gets it for the duration of the turn for those cards that let you switch cards back to active mode. There aren't a lot that let you do it, but being able to do that with him and then swing again and gain another 10,000 and still have critical, it's pretty gross. He also plays 4 Kaba Universe Mediator. It's a 1-cost 5,000 that says, when you play this card, look at up 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose a Universe 6 among them, and add it to your hand. Considering most of the cards in this deck are Universe 6, it's going to be pretty hard to whiff on that ability. He's just mainly in here to go ahead and dig a little deeper into the deck for your combo pieces, but also to get an extra card to discard for Kefla's ability, or to be that discard himself. Then up next we have Impeccable Super Saiyan Kaba. He's a 3-cost 15,000 that says this card can attack battle cards in active mode, and your opponent cannot counter against this card's attacks. So it's really nice because they can't negate the attacks with any of their negate cards, and also having a 3-drop that can attack battle cards is really nice. He's also red, so he can be charged for anything, and also Universe 6, so if you don't need to attack active battle cards, then you can just pitch him away for Kefla's Draw 2 effect. Up next, we have one of the main combo pieces this deck runs, and it's 1-drop Khalifa. And you're probably wondering, why 1-drop Khalifa? She's just a vanilla 10k. Well, it's because it's the easiest Khalifa to get out. You just leave her in active mode until you're ready to use her, or you just wait till the turn that you're going to play her, use Kefla's Awaken to untap and just drop your combos. But that's pretty much the only purpose she serves, is to be able to just play her before you go into your main finishing play. Then there's 3 Sister Attack Saiyan Khalifa. She's just a 3-drop 15k. This is when you play this card. If your leader is a red Saiyan, you can choose a card in your life and add it to your hand, and this card gains 5,000 and double strike. But this card doesn't get really played a whole lot. He did drop it once or twice, I think against me, more or less when he just doesn't have other options. But this is one of the cards that you're not going to see get played as often. I think he had also considered taking this card out after seeing how little play it saw during the day. Up next, he runs 4 Bold Super Saiyan 2 Khalifa. She's a 4-cost 20,000 that evolves for 2 red and 1 other. When you play this card, you look at 7 cards from the top of the deck, choose a Universe 6 with 15k or less, and play it. Again, this is one of those other cards that just didn't see a whole lot of play. because on your turn 3, you're going for much better plays with this deck, and more or less she just gets charged for energy and gets discarded for the draw 2. Up next we have Khalifa's protege for Dauntless Scale. She's a 2-cost 5,000 blocker, but for the most part she's just in here to be a free play when you have a Kefla on the board, so that you can use her for your combo pieces. Then we've got 4 Sister Attack Saiyan Kale. She's a 2-cost 10,000 that lets you draw a card when she attacks, even though the Universe 6 is in play, and she gains 5,000 power, so she's a 2-cost that draws a card. So that's another reason why you have the 1-drop Kabas and the 1-drop Keflas, is to be able to get her draw on your second turn. Now your main finisher, and easily the most important character of the deck, is Saiyan Onslaught Kefla. It's a 5-cost 25,000 that you can evolve for 3 red. So ideally you're going to evolve her on the 1-drop Kefla and the free Kale blocker. She has deflect, so she can't be countered. She has dual attack, and when this card is played using Union Patara, or when it attacks, draw a card, and this card gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. This is the card that literally screwed me and all of my plays this past weekend, because it generates a +3 when you play it, and then it gains 15,000 power. And if you give it double strike with the leader's ability, then it's a +20. So it's a double strike, dual attack that draws you 3 cards. Like, this card just generates so much stupid advantage, and if you do manage to kill it, then he's just going to play another one, because it's so easy to drop the 1-drop Kefla and the blocker Kale. He also ran Kefla's weaker self in Desperate Odds Kefla. It's a 4-cost 20,000 with double strike, and at the end of a battle, after this card attacks, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, you can switch it to active mode. This one really only saw play, I think, once that I saw, but it's kind of useless, because with as much hand advantage as this deck generates, you just never are less than 4 cards. You would have to combo down so hard, and that's not even worth it for this card, especially considering the other Kefla card is so much better to play. Although this is a nice option, and this probably would help against Cell or Mira decks, but honestly, it's probably best as a side deck card, and it was another one of those cards that he considered taking out. I think for the most part, it, again, was just, discard fodder. Then for those games like ours that go past having 4 energy, there's 3 Universe 7 Saiyan Prince Vegeta. He's a 5-cost 20,000. This says when you play this card from your hand, if your leader card is red, choose one of your other Saiyan battle cards that are Universe 7 or 6 and switch it to active mode. And both that card and this card gain 10,000 power and triple strike. If you don't manage to kill him before he gets to 5 energy, this Vegeta will guarantee that you will not make it to your next turn. Granted, this deck doesn't really need this Vegeta, but in the case that it happens, you're done. I know he considered taking these out along with the 4-drop Kefla. Some of the cards we talked about putting in were like a few foreseeing hit, because in the case that he can actually play it, it's a good finisher, and also because if he draws too many or he just isn't going to play it, then it's a Universe 6 that he can discard for Kefla's effect. Then you've got the Universe 6 Super Combo, Union Attack, Batomo, and Magetta. Generic Super Combo, except it lets you play the card at 5 life instead of 4. So, obviously the best card to run as far as red Super Combos go, and all the red Super Combos are generic draw effects anyways. Then for negates, he chose Time Kicker. It's your counter attack that says negate the attack, and if your leader card is Universe 6, choose up to 1 attacking battle card and send it to the warp. At the end of the turn, your opponent plays the card sent to the warp into its owner's battle area. So it's a nice way to kind of get rid of some cards, but they're going to come back at the end of the turn. It is kind of beneficial against those cards that have effects like Bardock, for example, that forces you to take a life when it comes into play. It'd be a cheeky way to win to, you know, get rid of their Bardock, or like their 2 Drop Khalifas that come into play and deal damage, or, you know, stuff like that, that when they come into play, they have negative effects that could impact your opponent. As far as a side deck goes, my teammates don't exactly believe in side decks like I do, but he did have 4 Unending Awakening. This is mainly for when he's playing against a deck like what I was playing that had a bunch of barrier cards, and you're not going to be able to target it with Time Kicker. So instead, then he swaps to Unending Awakening that negates the attack, but gives his leader a 5,000 power boost for the duration of the turn, which is extremely helpful, especially considering how early he can use this and get the boost, and a lot of battle cards can't get over 20,000, you know, on turns 2 and 3. Now, I don't quite remember what his round 1 opponent was. I remember round 2, he and I played against each other, and I was running Zamasu, and I just was not having a good day for Dragon Ball. My draws were shit. And not to discredit his win or anything, because this deck is just so aggro and it just goes so hard that Zamasu just can't keep up. You know, I did what I could with it, but there was just nothing we could do. The deck just goes so fast, and having the ability to win on turn 2 or turn 3 with that Kefla is just disgusting. And then in the final round, he played against Red-Blue Hirudegarn. And it makes me happy for a number of reasons. One, it proves that even though everybody claims that these handful of decks like the Hirudegarn and, you know, Trunks and SS3, that all of these flute decks are so overpowered, it makes me happy to see a deck like this that can, you know, overpower it. Now, granted, you know, other decks can take those decks down. Like, they're not undefeatable. Flute is a broken card, and something does need to be done about it. I will agree with that, and even people that play it agree with it. They just play it because they want to win. But when you've got a deck like this that is just out of nowhere with a leader that nobody plays, and when they don't know what half the cards in the deck do, they don't know how to play against it. And because of the way this deck plays, being able to out-aggro decks like Hirudegarn or SS3, that's how you beat them. You either have to have an extremely aggressive strategy with the deck, or you have to have some way to be able to control the match in your favor, like running you know, a bunch of negates or stuff like full power energy. Cell does really well because it's massive hand advantage, and as long as you know when to, you know, drop the cell chain at the right time, they can't recover from it. Same thing with this Kefla. That 5-drop Kefla just comes in and just wrecks face, and because it gets so powerful along with that double strike from the leader plus all the draw power, chances are you can't combo out of it. But that's going to do it for this deck profile. If you guys enjoyed, and I know some of you have really been looking for a way to play the Kefla cards without having to run SS3, red aggro, or to be able to run the Kefla leader. I've seen several people over the past week or so trying to figure out how to play this leader and this specific archetype. So if you did enjoy the video, if you do like the build, make sure you hit that like button down below for us. You know, we appreciate all the support. We appreciate all of our subscribers as well. You guys have been fantastic and just giving us such great praise on all of our DBS videos. Really means a lot to us. Congrats again to my boy Ryan, proud member of the God Squad, for taking first place with this ridiculously annoying deck. And next week we are going to have some even more ridiculous decks that I'm not going to want to play against any of them. But we will end up doing deck profiles on all that stupid shit, so we'll be sharing it with you very soon. But we're going to go ahead and get the freak out of here now, and we'll see you guys in the next video.